Alright, so this video is all about SkyLine. And this is a technology I've been trying to develop for a while now, just conceptually, not like physically or anything like that. It's a transportation technology that may at some point find its way into the Neotoy continuum. I don't know, maybe. I'm still kind of debating it. But fundamentally, I think the concept of this is really easy to grasp, but hard to fully appreciate. So essentially, how it works is you've got your ground, and this can be any type of ground, and this is sort of one of the beauties of the system. It doesn't have to be flat ground. In fact, usually when I illustrate this, I put a mountain and a valley, so you can see that the terrain is very diverse. So unlike a train track or a road, a highway that a car would travel on or a bus would travel on, or the ocean, which is constantly changing due to weather conditions, the SkyLine does not depend on the reliability of the terrain, aside from the fact that it is a surface that anchors can be attached to. And this can be done underwater too, like say like here's a lake or whatever, you can put an anchor down here at the bottom. So these anchors have lines attached to them, and then at this point right here there's an interface, and this is the thing that I'm actually kind of struggling with because I haven't quite figured it out yet, but it's an insurmountable problem. So there's an anchor, and then there's a line that goes up to an interface, and then at the point of this interface there's another line that goes up, and at the top of this line is a balloon, but not an ordinary balloon, okay? This isn't like a frail balloon. It's a ruggedized balloon that is virtually unpoppable, unbreakable, whatnot. And it contains a gas that is lighter than air. So like helium, or preferably hydrogen. However, hydrogen, because it's explosive, is kind of dangerous. So probably just helium. And it doesn't really matter how big the balloon is. The only thing that matters is it's big enough to hold up the weight of the line, or the SkyLine, which is a cable or rail that is suspended by this interface. So so basically this is the train track that the so-called gondola rides upon, which is the car, which is shaped similar to like an airplane that attaches to this cable. So these are just little windows that you can look out of while you're speeding along. Okay, so you get the concept so far, because this is the fundamental thing. It's like a train that goes through the sky, running on a rail that's held up by a network of lighter than air balloons that are spaced at regular intervals. And I want to put in, just interject here, that this is a flexible system. It's not a rigid system. So when the wind blows, these balloons can move around. The lines can sway. It's not a rigid system like a railroad where the track is made of steel and it never moves. This is a system that's designed to have flexibility built into it. So this is the first part of the SkyLine, just the infrastructure that it rides on, and then there's something at the other end, or both ends of this this line that is really important, of course, like where you would embark and disembark. And obviously this interface is super critical, and this is why I'm having a lot of trouble cracking this problem, because somehow the car has to be able to move along the line without ever stopping, because it runs into the part where the anchor and the balloon is attached to. So I've come up with a partial solution to that, which I'm gonna just sketch out really quick here. So that was the sort of sideways view, but if you were to look at this straight on, this is what it would look like. So there's actually two anchors, and of course these go deep underground so that they're plenty secure. And then there's like the cable or line that actually stretches between these two is shaped like a parabola, kind of, right? So the interface is right here, and then there's just one line here that goes up to the balloon, and then the gondola is attached like this. So there's like the nose of the gondola, right? So it's actually it's going between these two lines, like zooming towards you like this. And this is right up here. This is it's not anchored. It's not anchored here to the sides, but this is actually like a full multi-directional interface. So in other words, the depending on how the wind is blowing up here and moving the balloon, it's possible for this parabola to shift like sideways like this. So the gondola in that case would be like more over here on this side, you know, kind of getting closer to the edge. But because of the distance between the two anchor points, it never actually like can bump into these lines over here. There's quite a margin for that in terms of the engineering. But the point that I'm making is that there's flexibility built in here to where the anchor point can sway back and forth within a reasonable range of motion, not like all over the fucking place. Okay, so that's just sort of like the straight on view. But here's the other key element of the SkyLine, and that is, imagine that here's the line, and here's the anchors going up to the balloons, and then over here is what I was originally calling an annex. However, I think hub is probably a much better term for it, because it is more like the center hub of a bicycle spoke. So on here it looks kind of like a layer cake, but basically this is where the cables terminate, and then the lines, and then they radiate outward in many directions. Like this is a isometric shot, but just imagine that there's a whole bunch of lines radiating out from this one central annex or hub, all going to different destinations. So the deal here is that this mast, which I'm kind of calling it, it's a station, it's a train station or a gondola station, but it's also a mast. This is hydraulic. So what it can do is change elevation of the top. So in other words, like when you embark, is that the right term? I think when you get on a train, I'm just gonna try to use this space over here to show this. Like when you embark, like here's the ground and here's the station. It's not at ground level, but it's low. And then once you're ready to disembark, the mast starts to elevate hydraulically. So the gondola is up here at the top. And what this is doing is changing the elevation and the angle of descent for the SkyLine. And so what that allows is for gravity to start taking effect, and then the gondola actually moves based on gravity. So it's not using any kind of propulsion or fuel. However, I really want the gondolas to feature a full array of solar panels built into the outer shell so that they can have electricity like lights and whatnot inside the gondola. And, you know, for other things, communication, entertainment, etc. Just modern conveniences. But anyway, this is the idea, part of the SkyLine that I'm still messing around with, because in theory it would be really easy to just have solar panels powering the gondola and actually have it electrified so that it can move via its own power versus this complicated gravity hydraulic assembly. However, the advantage to having this system here is that it makes it a passive transportation system where it doesn't rely on any form of energy aside from gravity, which is kind of an interesting concept. I'm not sure if I've explained this perfectly yet, but here's a simpler illustration. So let's start with the ground, and then so here's the station, and here's another station. Here's point A, and here's point B, and here's like the first phase. Like, you want to go from point A to point B, so you get on the SkyLine here, and then after everyone's on, and this is like when all the cars are loaded, whether it's freight or passengers or whatever, it's fully loaded up, all the Sky Cars going to all the various destinations. Then the hydraulics kick in, right? And so the elevation is gradually changing. You're starting to move from 0 to the maximum speed. This station B stays down. It doesn't go up yet. So now the angle has changed significantly, and because of the way this hub is distributed, the force remains more or less consistent because there's many lines radiating outwards. So it's not like putting an undue amount of stress on one side. And then the gondolas, which are, you know, attached to the SkyLine by this point, start to depart the station, just rolling along on this cable, not requiring any power whatsoever, no like propulsion at all. And then once the gondola gets down to here to point B, then the hydraulics kick in, and this lowers back down, and you're back to the initial point. So it's actually slowing down quite a ways before it gets down to the next point. And then like everything can load up over here, and then this station on the other side, which is more or less identical. Now the hydraulics kick in over here, and now the line is going in the opposite direction, and then the cars can go back to the other point or whatever. So that's basically how the passive propulsion system works on the SkyLine. It's probably too complicated and maybe unnecessary, but honestly, none of this stuff really matters. This is all just silly, technical, fun stuff. The real innovation of the SkyLine is the hybrid approach to the technology. That basically you have something that is like a train and an airplane at the same time, so you don't have to worry about the terrain. You can go in a more or less straight line between point A and B, just like an airplane. There aren't many limitations to your route, but unlike with an airplane that requires a lot of attention and energy to stay aloft, the passive power of the buoyant, lighter than air gases hold the rail or line up in the air. And yeah, so that's essentially the SkyLine concept. And I feel like this offers a lot of advantages to contemporary transportation. Another thing I didn't really go over was if the elevation of the line is changing, the balloons are not a problem. However, these anchors then become an issue because they need to be able to raise and lower depending on the whole line, which that can be computer controlled. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but once again, maybe that's just getting too complicated, in which case the whole concept of the hydraulic and the gravity-based system could go, because honestly I'm not attached to that at all. But yeah, SkyLine. Thanks for watching.